Hi everyone, welcome to Virtual Vacation Bible School. Woo! I'm here with Mrs. Taylor, and along with Lucy, Meg, and Will Taylor, we're going to do some science together. Are you excited for science? Woo! Alright, we're going to show you some science miracles that you can try at home. Alright? And if you're a good scientist, you are very observant. Scientists can observe amazing things all around them every day. Like, for example, like the wind blowing in the trees. It's amazing. How does that work? Like fruit growing from a tiny seed into something that you can eat. It's amazing, isn't it? Bees buzzing around, the birds flying around. There's so many amazing things that happen around you every day that seem like miracles. And even like you smelling and tasting and touching and feeling things, that's amazing. How does that work? How does that happen? Well, it's all science, but we're also going to read a story about Jesus and the amazing miracles that he performed. And to do that, we're going to pass the microphone to Lucy.
Hi everyone, our story today comes from the book John chapters 2 verses 1 through 11. I'll be reading from the Paraphrased Living Bible because it's a bit easier to understand. 2 days later, Jesus' mother was in a guest wedding at the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus and his disciples were invited too. The wine supply ran out during his festivities, and Jesus' mother came to him with a problem. "I can't help you now," he said. "It isn't yet my time for miracles." But his mother told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you to do." 6 stone water pots were standing there. They were used for a Jewish ceremonial purpose and held perhaps 20 to 30 gallons each. Then Jesus told the servants to fill them to the brim with water. When this was done, he said, "Dip some out and take it to the master of the ceremonies." When the master of the ceremonies tasted the water, that was now wine, not knowing where it had come from, though of course the servants did, he called the bridegroom over. "This is wonderful stuff," he said. "You're different from the most. Usually the host uses the best wine first, and afterwards, when everybody is full and doesn't care, he brings out the least expensive brands. But you have kept the best for last." The miracle at Cana in Galilee was Jesus' first public demonstration of his heaven-sent power, and his disciples believed that he really was the Messiah. That's it.
Hi guys, I'm back. Right here in front of me, we are going to try to turn water into wine. If you try this at home, make sure you have an adult with you and use safety glasses. Okay, so here's my water. We're going to pour it into here. Let's see if it turns into wine.
Womp womp.
Didn't work. All right, let's try something else. What if I try some magic? Okay, turn to wine.
Magic.
What happened? How did I do that?
Hi gang, Mrs. Taylor here. I'm here to explain what happened when Mr. Taylor did that miraculous science experiment. It was cool, but it wasn't really that miraculous because we can explain it. We don't really know how Jesus turned water into wine, but I do know how Mr. Taylor made this pink liquid. And in order to explain it to you, I've got to explain something about how we categorize chemicals. So in science, sometimes we break chemicals into 3 different categories. acid, neutral, and base. Some people call base alkali. I like to just say base. So acids, really strong acids, can be very harmful. They can hurt you. So there's a really strong acid inside this battery, and it's going to go on the very end of my scale. So batteries have acid in them that are really strong and they can hurt you. But as you move towards the center of my scale, towards neutral, the acids get weaker and weaker. And so that means once they get to the neutral part, they don't hurt you anymore. You can bathe in them, you can splash them in your eyes, you can put them in your ears. It doesn't matter because they don't hurt you. Now, here's the tricky part. Once you slide past the neutral, now you get into the base part of the scale. As you go further and further to the end, those bases get stronger and stronger. And so once you hit the end of the base part, that stuff can hurt you again. It actually melts your skin, which doesn't feel good. So these two parts of the scale can be painful and be harmful chemicals, but the middle part doesn't hurt you at all. Now, we know a little bit about acids and bases without even really knowing. Most of the things we eat are acidic. So there's the sour stuff, Sour Patch Kids and orange juice and lemons. They're all acids. We don't eat a lot of bases because they're normally the soapy things. So soap doesn't taste good. So we don't eat it, but those are normally the bases. My helpers here are going to help me put some other things on a scale. So, where are you going to put water? This is a jug of water. Meg, where would you put it?
I'm going to put it here.
Right on neutral, Meg, you are a smart girl. Water is neutral. It doesn't hurt you. You can splash it in your face and everything will be fine. Will, where are you going to put vinegar?
Right on this orange.
So yeah, vinegar is it's actually maybe even a little bit further here. You can eat vinegar, and we do, and you can dye Easter eggs in vinegar, but it's a pretty strong acid. Meg, where would you put an apple? Do you think it's acidic?
Yes.
It is. It's kind of tangy. It's a fruit. It's a pretty, almost neutral. Will, ammonia. Ammonia is used as a soap, as a cleaner. And you are right, Will, that's a pretty strong base. It won't melt your skin, but it doesn't smell very good. And it's used to clean stuff. Meg, last one, baking soda. When you put baking soda into vinegar, what happens?
It makes a volcano.
It makes a volcano. It bubbles a lot. So, where do you think it's going to go? You're right, it is basic. So knowing that is going to help us understand what Mr. Taylor did, but we're going to use now a couple of chemicals. So we are going to use our vinegar, which is pretty strong acid, and our ammonia, which is a pretty strong base. The other thing that you might not know about acids and bases is they make different substances called indicators turn different colors. Meaning, I have an indicator here called bromothymol blue. That's a really fancy word, but all this does is it changes colors. It's, bless you, one color in acid and one color in base. So let's test this out. Megan, Will, I am going to pour vinegar into here. And since we're going to repeat the test, I'm going to pour it over here too. And then I am going to pour ammonia into the other two. All right, Meg and Will, get your squeezing fingers ready because so, the first one has the vinegar. The second one has the ammonia. Will, why don't you come over here? I want you to put a few drops, a squirt, into the first one. Let's see what color it turns. I think you might want to put a few more drops. Put like a whole squirt. What color is it?
Yellow?
It is yellow. So Meg, try so it turns yellow in an acid. Try in the base. And it turns blue in a base. So notice, yellow in acid, blue in base. When this starts, it's kind of green. These acids and bases made this turn different colors. We're going to try a different kind of experiment where we are going to use another indicator, but this one is called universal indicator. So I put my acid in here. I'm going to get my base ready, but I'm going to dilute it a little bit. So I'm going to pour this ammonia into this cup, and then I'm going to pour some water into this cup, just so I have enough. Now, we're going to use a lot of universal indicator. What color do you think this is going to turn when it hits the vinegar?
Red.
Will, you are right. It turns red. I'm going to put a lot in there because now I'm going to slowly pour turns yellow, little orange, little yellow. I shot past green, got it to blue, all the way to purple. Now, do you think I could get it back to red?
No. Yes. Yes.
Let's try putting some acid into it. I bet you we can get it to go. There we go. So, we took an acid, added base to make it basic, and then it added acid to make it acidic. Now, all of you should right now be wondering and saying, Mrs. Taylor, what amazing miracles you are doing. You are doing science extraordinaire. How does it explain how Mr. Taylor turned water into wine? First thing again, this is not really wine. Second thing you need to know is that that's not really water he used. It was ammonia. So, this last indicator is clear. It's called phenolphthalein, and if I put a squirt into acid, remember that's our vinegar. Meg and Will, did it change?
Nope.
No, phenolphthalein is clear in acid, but it is pink in base. So tricky Mr. Taylor had put a few drops of phenolphthalein in his wine glass before he even started. And then when he poured that water from the pitcher, it was ammonia. It wasn't water. Stay tuned because I'm going to show you how you can do all of these kind of fun experiments at home. Hey gang, we're back to mix some chemicals together. Now, if you're anything like me, you'd say, oh my gosh, where can I get these indicators? I want to test some stuff out. I want to try myself. But those indicators don't look like they're sold at Target, and they're not. But the great thing about indicators is that they're found in everyday stuff that you have in your house. Lots of plant dyes and pigments, lots of reasons why plants have their colors are actually chemicals that are used as indicators. So here's how I'm going to suggest you test some stuff out. You can try strawberries, blueberries, cherries, apples. Red cabbage is a really good one. Some spices, and this is how I would try it. I would take 2 clear cups. I'm using grape juice. I'm pouring a little bit of grape juice into 2 cups. I'm also using a spice called curry powder. It's a beautiful, very good smelling yellow spice. I'm going to sprinkle some into cups. I'm going to dilute it all with a little bit of water. And then start testing the stuff you have around your house. Start testing vinegar and ammonia and baking soda and see what happens. See if you can get it to change colors. I am not going to do it. I'm going to let you do that. But look through your house, see if you can figure out some indicator fun. Have fun, make miracles, get mixing. Thanks for joining us.